I'm Martin Allan. I'm co-owner of the business. And what are you, Colin?
And I'm Colin Kinghorn, and I'm the other co-owner.
Perfect. And it's bon accord, obviously, for people watching. So I always find with these conversations, the best place to start is, if we're going to talk about Business Pilot, we need some kind of context or reference point. So I start with what was life like before Business Pilot. So if I could just ask you guys, what was life like in terms of running the business before Business Pilot? What were you doing?
Well, it was so much easier before.
Yeah. Now that's a first, but that's really good, and that's staying in. So easier how?
No, it wasn't easier. No. We had multiple systems that we used for different bits of the business, and it was a problem for us over a period of time. We always wanted to get something that would be all-encompassing, and we did have a look around in the marketplace. We ended up with you guys, and it's still work in progress, but it's a big improvement.
Huge thing, yeah.
So were you, when you say you had different systems, as in digital systems though? So it wasn't just like a whole series of paper files. You'd actually digitized what you were doing.
We had a CRM which we'd had for
15, 20 years.
20, I would say more than that, but around 20 years.
Yeah.
And it was did a great job for us with a digital scheduling system, which was separate. None of them spoke to one another.
Right.
Accounts was another system that didn't speak to any of them. So it was always very clunky going from one to the other. We changed in one, you to change in the other. But Pilot now is so much slicker, you know.
Yeah, so I guess the key benefit for you guys then was the fact that it brought it all into one platform. You already had different platforms doing the different bits you needed. So the key upgrade, if you like, was bringing it all into one system. So then in doing that, and that might lead into this sort of next point, it might not. And I suppose the question as well is for you both individually, not like as a company, but what would you say your favorite feature inside Business Pilot is then?
You can start from sales. Martin's sales, I'm operational, so start from the beginning.
It's difficult to say what is the best bit. The best bit about the whole thing is it's one place for everything.
Yeah.
So wherever we are, we can log in and gain access to all the different elements of the software. So, I mean, from a sales point of view, that the inquiries initially come in, they get uploaded into Business Pilot. We then book in appointments, and it's stored in the same Business Pilot. We then allocate the appointments, and the sales guys get their appointments all digitally, so they get an email to tell them this is their appointments for the next day. And so it's became, that's what we need, that's what we do. So it's and prior to that, then when it was on Sales Logic, it was a bit more difficult. We had to, it was a lot more process to get to the sales stage and get the appointments out to the guys. So it's certainly been very, very helpful for me being able to manage that whole sales process.
Yeah, so from your side then, in terms of best feature, the feature isn't, if you like, a feature like we would say schedule board or BP mail. The feature is the fact that it's in one place.
Absolutely,
which isn't a feature, that is a feature. It might not be one of those ones that's on the menu list, as it were, but it is a feature. So what about on the ops side of things then?
Well, just from sales, you create it goes to contract, and then it's just such a more simple process. Surveyor to ordering a product, market product here, getting a schedule. The schedule is probably the one thing our staff is struggling with.
Right.
more than anything else, and because they were being used to another digital system, it was say easier in some sense to move jobs. If you got to move jobs, it was easier to read. You could print it where you can't print your one. I know that's not what it's about. But I would say that's the part that they struggle with most. But as for booking jobs, emailing customers, ordering product, it's so much easier. I mean, I'm ordering a lot of the jobs, but the jobs that I am ordering, you sit at your desk and you do it. You don't need to go and print it, scan it to yourself, and then forward it on to the manufacturer or whatever, or even a customer. In the past, you had sales logics, you could print it, but you'd print it, scan it to yourself, then send it to the customer, and then log it in the system as well. So it was long-winded compared to now. You do everything from the system. So
it's always a conversation. There's other systems out there, and their whole approach is to force you to be paperless. And we never really took that stance, and we said, look, some people will still want to use paper, so that's how you can still print out like a service sheet if you want, and so on. I mean, printing out that dashboard would be, that would be quite mammoth in actually doing that. So I suppose it is one area where it is so visual on screen, but of course, as you say, you can't really print it other than doing a screenshot of it. You can't, there's no print button for it. And again, I was looking at one of these chats that I've been having, and fortunately, I'm the guy who will then edit it, so I actually get to watch them all back when I'm not involved in the conversation, which is really good for me, because my role is to make the business, not just the software, but make the business better, so and in one of them I was talking about how there is this learning curve, with any change, or not even learning curve. I mean, it is part learning, but there is this hurdle to get over as to how you change using systems, and it's important for us to be really good at hand holding through it. And it's important for everybody who's going to do that change to commit to it. There's almost like two parts, and they can't be done independently, but once you get beyond it, the benefits are massive, but that doesn't get away from the fact that you do need to get beyond that change of how you're using these systems, so I think it's something we need to be really aware of and help with. So I talked about the sort of, I suppose, the benefits once you've got over that change point. In terms of day to day, how would you say Business Pilot is making the most difference? How is it helping day to day?
I think it just comes back to the same thing we talked about earlier on. Everything in one place. If everything you need to look at, you're on this. Well, you're on the system anyway, so you go on and you go on to look into what you want to try and find. So it's the simplicity of one piece of software, I think, is the biggest single factor that the rest take on.
And like I said at the start, it's still a work in progress. It's early stages. I mean, it was the beginning of this year. We took it on board, but it wasn't until a new financial year, which was 1st of August, it really goes up and running and using it from there on. So it's only a few months in, and everybody's still learning. As you said, the biggest hurdle was change.
Yeah. It is, and I think
it's easy, but somebody's been here for the last using the same one for the last 10, 15 years. It's difficult.
I think it's really important. We're sold so much stuff online, and especially I think software can be one of the worst culprits of this, where all the marketing stuff is all about how easy things are. And it is easy once you know how.
But you're
not, the person who's going to take on your system doesn't know how. That's the whole point, So I rather than sort of skirting over it, I actually try and emphasize the fact that this will. What would be the point in putting in a new system if it wasn't going to create change? If everything was all right before, you wouldn't bring a new system in. So instead of hiding from this fact that there is a hurdle to get over called change, why don't we actually embrace it and say, look, together, let's get you through that change so that you can get on to the point of enjoying all the benefits. And you guys are, as you say, a few months in, you're already seeing some of those benefits. Actually, I think the real benefits come 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
Because everybody just does it as second nature, and nobody says, I want to print this screen off, because they realize actually they don't need or want to print it off anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's when I think it is. So I suppose that then probably leads on to about how the team have taken to it, because you have got people who've used a different process systems for so long. How have the team taken to it? I know, I met a couple of you guys at the training day. So how would you say generally it's been taken to?
Well, if I kick off with the sales team, we probably have half of them, and there's 7 salespeople in total. So 3.5 of them took to it no problem, understood it, and was working with it. The other half struggled a bit, but they're definitely getting there now. But that's technology in general rather than software.
Yeah.
So, but everybody's made their best efforts to grasp it and get on with it. So, albeit we're still having to push to get them to, this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
It's completing their circle every time. That's an important thing. The system's only as good as what is fed.
100%. And it's I always find, again, you guys have got a significant enough company. It's easier if there's 2 or 3 people in a company, because they probably all agreed to take it on. When you've got a bigger company, not everybody in your company decided they wanted to change the system.
No,
so it's so easy to get a lot of resistance. So therefore, when we find that actually, there's a couple of bits of finding it difficult, but actually now everybody's on board, that I think is a real success, because most people don't turn up to work thinking, I hope they change the way we do things. They don't turn up thinking that. So that's good. So it's early days, I know, but I wonder if already you can think of any specific situation where Business Pilot has either saved you some money or helped you to make money. Because I'm a big or a big thing to me is that I want Business Pilot to be an obvious ROI, and that's a message that I get from a lot of people that have used it for a while. But you guys in the early days, I wonder if you can already point to something where you say, actually, that saved us a lot of time, which equates to money, or this is an individual situation.
I would say I would be struggling to say that it's saving us money or anything like this. We're on quite a tight ship anyway,
right?
And to say we certainly haven't saved jobs through it. Again, I mean, everybody's adopted it and everybody's taken it on well, especially Ian, Craig, Michelle, my daughter. It was at 2, it was at the training, and we both had taken it on well. Ian's the one that can manipulate it and do different things, which is brilliant. I think you definitely need someone pretty IT knowledge to be looking after it. If you like, any changes it's needed, it just you ask them and it's done, and it's simple. Yes, we can all do it, but it's probably better you go back to a central point anyway.
So that's another thing that I talk about, and that is having that we'd call them a Business Pilot ambassador. So basically that one person in the business who is like your go-to. So we have, or I believe we have some really good stuff around support. I mean, the live chat inside the system, the phone, emails, whatever method, but you still can't beat having somebody in your organization who's your go-to person. That I think is key. So, I mean, talking about that, I'm assuming you guys have had to have contact with the team at Business Pilot over different things. I talk about it not just being software, but it's about installers helping installers and all of that message. How have you found the team at Business Pilot when you've needed to contact them?
I think it's been okay. Bearing in mind we've got Ian that's our go-to, so anything he does, he's dealing with the team, so we don't get that first-hand knowledge of how it's went. But I don't think he's been complaining that you've got poor service.
We'd know if he was getting poor services for sure. He asks questions, he gets answers. Some things take a bit longer than others because he's got to go back to developer or whatever. But on a whole, I think you're doing a decent job.
Good.
I was going to say, if there was one thing that I've seen a difference in, probably is accounts.
Right.
Michelle does the accounts side, and there's certainly less paperwork goes around her desk for sure. So I would say it would have made a difference in that, because everything's in the system. It's still delivery notes comes in, there's still different bits of paper, but much less than what there used to be. End of a month used to be sitting with a pile of invoices to be filed, and that's definitely gone.
And I think, just to add to that, I mean, Michelle's role was specifically accounts, but now she's doing contract administration, so she is doing a bit more administration of the sales contracts, which she never did before. So there's a benefit there that one person's managing to do the accounts process and the contract admin.
It's interesting. I spoke to another company, so it's another one of these videos, Go installations, and the guy specifically said to me, have you ever done a study of ROI? He said, because we know we've got a huge ROI from it, and I assume that's the same for everybody. I said, we haven't done a study of it. I said, but actually there's two things that come up. One are some big numbers. So sometimes we'll get somebody who says, thanks to Business Pilot, we spotted some double invoicing from a supplier or whatever, where we would have lost £40,000 without it. So they're like big numbers. Now, if you run a tight ship, you're not going to get that kind of benefit, because your tight ship was already going to pick that up. So that's not going to happen. But what I said to him, I said, actually, though, to me, the far bigger numbers are not actually those. It's where we get people who say that saves me 2 hours. It might be the fencer registration just being the push of a button rather than actually going on the portal. That saves me, this amount of time. Or more sort of other anecdotal stuff. Somebody was going off on maternity leave. We were worried about filling the place, and then we realized we didn't even need to, because Business Pilot actually does a lot of that. So when we talk ROI, sometimes it is these big numbers that people find, but actually more often than not, it's just lots and lots of little pieces, like Michelle's now doing more stuff on the contract side that she wouldn't have had time to do before. So I think there's different outcomes for different people. But it doesn't matter however it comes. So okay, I guess, and you guys are in a perfect position actually, because you're still a few months in. Let's take somebody now, they've just decided to sign up with Business Pilot, so we're not trying to sell the system to them. They've already decided they're buying into Business Pilot and they're going to adopt it. As somebody who's a few months in, what would your advice to them be?
What would that be? I think what I would say is totally commit to the software and don't look back.
Yeah.
But all those things you did before, that if you say, well, it doesn't do this and doesn't do that, then it'll hold you back from moving on. And we've had to certainly change.
Yeah, really good point.
Done things. So I think that's a major buy into it. If you like what you see based on what you present to them, we know it works. It's just a case of committing to it.
Yeah. There was somebody is coming from a paper background. It's and things on a daily basis and for jobs, and it's not digital at all. So it would be a walk in the park for them. But somebody's already digital, it's moving to another digital platform. I think it makes it a bit harder, a bit longer. It was trying to move our database across for a start, and things, and you take different angles to how we're going to do it. Or certainly I thought we'd get up and running much quicker than what we did.
Yeah.
But no, definitely take a period of time, and it was good that we took it on at the beginning of the year when we always had a focus of we need to be 100% using it by the start of the financial year.
Yeah.
The next year. And that's where we got to. But I mean, that was 6 months or whatever.
I think, really what you've both said is that same word, just commit to the process. Commit to the process. And I think that's really good advice. I talk about the dip in sort of previous stuff I've dealt with franchising before, and they talk about that same thing where somebody's ecstatic the minute they've bought the franchise, and then they go through the dip of this isn't just business on a plate. And then they come out the other side when it's all working. I think we have a very similar situation with changing software. When we get the demo, we're ecstatic because this is going to completely revolutionize our way of doing things. And then we go through the reality of change, and then we come out the other side. But when you're in that reality, going through the change process, I think probably the best advice anybody could give is what you've just said, which is just commit to the process. Don't look back, commit to the process, knowing that you'll get to that other side, which is the bit that the reason you'd bought it. You'd bought the other side, really, not the process of change. So it's
even our installers, and we thought this is going to be a bomb scare with it up. 2 or 3 weeks ago, we got apps for them all, and got them all connected, and they're all using it. They're all using it.
So, and just think about that for a minute, because the fitters are not normally the ones who want to adopt, new technology. They're not, and yet they've got apps, and a couple of weeks later they're all using it. That I think we can sometimes miss some of the really small things, but they're actually big wins. They just seem small, So
that was a biggie for us.
They definitely adopted much quicker than and I expected. To just first day they're on a job and they're taking pictures and they're sending notes back, and you just think, wow, how easy was that? We've been put it for months.
But part of that was we couldn't print off.
We couldn't give them, because they always used to get their scheduler for their week. They knew on a Monday what they were doing for their week. Then of course can't print that off now, so we'll get that up live so they can see on a Monday what they're doing for the whole week. So all the information's there. They can see the jobs, where in the past, they could see where they're going and what they were fitting, or 4 windows or 6 windows or a door or whatever, but they can actually go in now and see.
Look at photos.
I haven't had any of them yet saying, I don't want that job on Thursday.
That's the flip side, isn't it? So it's really good. For me, having these chats, and the reason I call them chats rather than interviews or whatever, is I want it to literally be this kind of conversation that we've just had. I really want people to see what Business Pilot are like, not just what the software is like. You know, we're always going to push our, you know, we're going to put our best face forward when it comes to how good the software is, but ultimately we're asking people to come on a journey with us and have a long-term relationship with us, and therefore I want people to see what it's actually like. You know, are we responsive? Are we just faceless software? Who are we? And this conversation has been great for me in that way. And unless you guys have got anything else to add, this is really what I wanted to get out of us doing this. So have you got anything else that you'd add to what we've said?
No, I think all good so far, and just a case of we keep on progressing with it. We've come across new stuff every day.
Yeah.
So it's not as though we know it from start to finish, but so we come across new stuff and think, oh, that's really good. Or no, it's been great for us, and we'll continue to try and progress with it.
Yeah, purchase orders. I'm starting looking at purchase orders here, and purchase orders is so much easier now than having a pad and writing it out. And as I said, going and either emailing it direct from the printer or scanning it to yourself and then sending it on from there. It's just so much easier. Job costings. You can go into a job now in a click of a button and see
what's there. Do you guys? I haven't sort of checked it out, but do you guys use the stock system yet?
Not yet, no.
So again, and it's interesting when you say, you know, there's always new things, and actually there always will be, because we haven't finished developing it. You know, the Business Pilot system that we see in our heads, there's only a fraction of it currently there. Because every time we put something else in, we think of something else, or a customer says, could we have? And we think, you know, that's brilliant. You know, and it goes on our ideas board, and there's years of development still to happen. So there's always going to be new things. And it's just taking them on bit by bit, you know. So no, it's I get quite excited about it, and it is just at the end of the day software, but I get excited because I see how it changes things for people. You know, it's not the software. I'm not interested in looking at lines of code. It's how it's actually changing these businesses. That's the bit that gets me.